Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the 210th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host, Steve Wellings, and coming along for the ride this evening, we have, so far, Haye to Dave Lowback and Andy Patterson. A couple of the other boys are running late. They're going to be on soon, but we thought we'd better just get this show started. We can't wait any longer, but you will have some fresh voices as the show commences. I think it's going to be a bit of a short one tonight, guys, other than the Frampton-Santa Cruz show last night and a lack of action over the weekend. We've got Twitter questions, a few Value of the Weeks and things like that. But it doesn't look like we're going to be going on all night as it stands. Don't forget as well, I'll remind you at the beginning of the show tonight to like the Facebook page and subscribe on YouTube. We're nearing 3,000 subscribers, so that's getting on pretty well. And also leave a review on iTunes. Nothing less than 5 stars throughout the month of January 2017 is acceptable. This was the week, guys. The detractors have been saying that Amir Khan has got a bad chin. He's nearly finished. He's no good anymore. He's proven over the last few weeks, as far as I'm concerned, there's still plenty of speed and power in the right hand. Lots of footage going around of Amir, and he's still got it.
Oh, mate, the hand speed's tremendous, mate. It's always good to see when, especially you get up edge, you know, the speed generally kind of goes, the reflexes go. I mean, obviously, he can still knock out a good wank now and again. And the hand speed, as you say, is absolutely impeccable. So, it's looking good for the future.
Definitely. It can be hard.
I was impressed by his opponent, honestly.
It can be hard to get up for opponents like that, Dave, but he managed it.
That's what champs do, mate. They finish it, get over the line.
Right, okay, maybe we'll leave that one. I'm just trying to think what was over the weekend. I was watching a show on ITV4 last night, Poxon show. I had my suspicions about this one, and so it proved. It was pretty much a platform to try and plug this pay-per-view, Chris Eubank Jr., Reynold Quinlan pay-per-view that's coming up, and they really did dedicate a hell of a lot of time before and after the show to trying to pump this one through. But whenever the show itself was on, it was pretty decent. Richard Poxon's a fairly experienced matchmaker. He's been around for a long time with Clinton Woods and Mickey Hatton, and he got a few decent fights on here, actually. Jack Arnfield against Mick Hall, a British-level title fight, really, but the WBA International Middleweight title was on the line. But really, this Robbie Davis Jr., I've heard a lot about this kid, and obviously you don't know what to expect because people do get the hype a lot of the time. But I don't know how much of this you saw, Andy, but right up until the finish, I was really impressed by this guy, Robbie Davis. I thought he put his punches together well. He showed decent movement. The head movement was quite good. Zarbo's not the greatest opponent in the world, but I'm liking the look of this Davis Jr. kid.
He did pretty well, in all honesty. As you say, I mean, the opponent maybe not all that great, but I know Davis is quite high up in one of the ranking bodies. Worked his jab pretty well. I think maybe still a wee bit kind of work needing done on the defence, but he wasn't really kind of. Well, he was taking some punches last night, but I don't think they were really bothering him. But I say a lot of good head punches, but the finish with the left hook to the body was savage. Really good ending. Just sucked the life right out of the guy. So it's what it was. It was probably one of those kind of ranking title fights. So I was trying to look at the rankings, as I say. I don't know if he's going to be next in line for a title shot. I noticed he was like ranked 5th, but you just wonder because I noticed that Amir Aman still kind of ranked in the top 3 or something. He lost a fight recently, so I think maybe Davis maybe get the push. So if Burns beats this Ndongo guy, you never know. Maybe end up getting a wee fight with Robbie Davis Jr. at some point. But yeah, it was a decent fight. I thought the card was actually all right, pretty decent. But as you say about the Eubank stuff, I just fast forwarded through all that shit apart from like the end interview when he was talking about Junior's got the electricity that Floyd Mayweather didn't have and all that sort of shit. Other fight, that Atif Shafiq, that was a pretty kind of brutal knockdown.
Yeah.
You see his eyes, man, right into the bleachers. It was like fucking wired to the moon, that one. That was a great shot. But decent card, as I say. Jack Arnfield, I thought he did pretty well. The stoppage was pretty, well, I think the stoppage was pretty much spot on because if you've seen the swelling on the guy's forehead and stuff, it was pretty bad. Decent performance. I think Arnfield's kind of in line next for maybe a British title fight, so look forward to that one as well. But all round, I thought it was maybe a 7 out of 10 card, maybe a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, just nobody asked to comment on this, but Zarbo, the opponent, I noticed he only made his debut in February 2016, and he'd had his 15 or 16 fights before last night, all last year. He's pretty much got through quite a lot. He's better than your average Hungarian journeyman. He upset a kid, Zach Davis, in the York Hall in only his 4th fight. He then got knocked out by O'Hara Davis a few fights later, and then he upset Stephen Ormond with a body shot victory as well. and then he was beaten by Ormond in the return, and he was taking his lumps against Robbie Davis Jr. last night. So fair play to him. He seems like a pretty decent journeyman, and one of the better journeymen that we've got on the scene. I'm going to throw a question out there, guys, pretty early on. Now, nobody has to answer it now, but it's something to have a thinking about. Danny Robson asked it just before we came on the air, and it was just a bit too short of time to try and have a good think about this one. So Danny Robson was saying, with Triple G versus Danny Jacobs happening, can you think of fights where the chinny fighter has knocked out the iron-chinned one? So the chinny fighter has knocked out the iron-chinned one. We were trying to have a think about this one, weren't we, Andy?
Yeah, I think Danny sent it in about 5-2 there, so I didn't really get a good chance to go and sit and think about it. But the one I can think, as I say, it's maybe a bit unkind to say the guy who's maybe chinny. As I say, maybe as he went up in weight and as he got older, and that his chin resistance wasn't all that great. But Tommy Hearn is knocking out Duran. You know, if you think about it, nobody actually knocked out Duran like that before or since. You know, so that was the only one I could kind of come up with at short notice.
Yeah, I was saying that I know it wasn't a knockout and it doesn't really count because it was a body shot, but when Amir Khan knocked down Maidana, I did start to think to myself, whoa, hold on a minute, it looks like the guy with the seemingly impenetrable chin, obviously got attacked to the body and he's going to get stopped by Khan. This is a bit of a turn up for the Bucks, but he managed to pull through and Amir got the victory on points. But if anyone wants to have a think about that one, we'll maybe come back to it later on. And,
what about? I don't know if he was chinny, Sergio. I maybe he was a wee bit kind of glass about him, but knocking out Paul Williams. You know, Williams was generally kind of a pretty strong chin to get knocked out like that in the second fight.
Yeah, I suppose so. Martinez, was he chinny? I mean, he had been knocked out by Antonio Margarito, hadn't he, I suppose?
Yeah. Then it plus he'd been dropped off
Richard Williams a couple of times, yeah.
I'm trying to think who else before that. Did Pavlik not have him on the floor?
I can't remember, Andy.
He did.
What about Julian Jackson? He was chinny, but he knocked out a lot of people.
Right, who did he knock out?
How about Ezra Sellers, who knocked out Carl Thompson, right? He was a guy who could get knocked out.
Was Thompson iron chin, though, Dave?
He had good recovery powers.
Yeah, he had good recovery powers, that's right. He went down a lot, but he did manage to get up very quickly.
There was one that just on the tip of my tongue there, actually. Fuck it, it's gone.
Not to worry, we'll maybe come back to that one, Andy. I'm going to come back to you in a minute with the Danish card.
Taking the Royd bomb on Marquez. His chin's been super solid for like forever. And
the Royd bomb. Dave with some Royd accusations. Yeah, before we go to the Danish card and whatever else was going on over the weekend, Andy, I want to quickly bring in Donny. I want to hear his opinion on this one, actually. Craig Mastro Totaro asked us this question. He said, have you guys all signed up to the ITV box office now that registrations are open for Eubank against Quinlan? Putting aside the fact, Donny, that you can't sign up to ITV box office, you're going to have to stream it like the rest of us. What do you think about this as a fight for Eubank and the direction his career is taking with this IBO thing?
Yeah, watching this fight is right there on the list behind sticking bamboo shoots underneath my fingernails. I mean, it's a pointless fight, and it's not going to progress him. Call me when he fights somebody. I mean, I don't want to be that dismissive of it. I mean, I guess theoretically there's always something you can learn from a fight or whatever, but I mean, I just don't see it really. And I mean, and the idea that it's on pay-per-view, if they ever happen to make any money from this, it's going to be terrible because they're going to keep doing this shit until the wheels fall off the car.
Donny's not feeling this one. Even the undercard, Donny, Ryder against Etches, isn't that something that you've been waiting for?
Well, actually, I do like John Ryder. I remember, didn't he fought Billy Joe Saunders a couple of years back, and I thought he gave him a pretty good fight. And you know, I mean, obviously Saunders now is, you know, at least is near the top of the middleweight division. I mean, he's a decent fighter. I don't think he's particularly great, but I always thought that Ryder. I wanted to see that rematch actually. Even though I knew it wasn't really going to happen. But no, I like Ryder, and I'm always happy to see him. I mean, yeah, it's a good undercard, but I mean, it just doesn't belong on the pay-per-view. But yeah, sure, I could get excited for that.
Andy, Cedric Vitu against Isaac Real last night on the Danish card. I wasn't on top of either of these, I'm afraid. Do you want to give us a quick rundown?
As I say, it was a pretty much decent fight, you know, competitive as such for over 12 rounds. Cedric Vitu won unanimous decision, 115, 113, 115, 112, 117, 111, but he got dropped in the third round. But 12th round pretty much kicked off the last 40 seconds. Both guys going for it. I think it was pretty close. Probably either a point either way. No problem with it. I did tweet out one of the fights actually between Solomon Sissoko and Renato Gomin. I actually think that was a complete quit job, that one. I know he took a right hand pretty high in the head, but he just didn't want any more afterwards. He just basically, whenever a guy was throwing punches at him, Sissoko was throwing punches at Gomin, he just basically kind of like ducked and weaved and dropped his knees and just basically bailed. As for the Danish card, mate, I couldn't get a link for it last night, so I had to wait till YouTube kind of fired it up. I didn't see the Nielsen fight, but apparently he has problems trying to make the weight. I think he's got his girlfriend had a kid recently or whatever and stuff. But one fighter I did mention last week was Abdul Khattab, the Palestinian-born kid. Knocked out again last night. That was his second knockout defeat against a journeyman, Armin Torzan. I think he's maybe Armenian or something. Knocked out in the 6th round, dropped in the 1st, and finally stopped in the 6th. But I think just look at that guy's size. I mean, I looked at Boxrec last night. This guy that he was fighting, he's 5'11" apparently, and they actually got Khattab put up as 5'11" as well. I don't think he is. I think he's quite small on that. So if it's possible, I think Khattab maybe needs to kind of drop down to 154, because at 160 he's going to get eaten alive, especially if you saw that last night. So back to the drawing board for that kid.
Was he the one who was knocked out by Joe Murray that time?
No. Who was that again? I forget the name of the guy now.
Not to worry. Okay, we've got Amir Khan on the line. He's jumped on for his first appearance in the new year. Amir, I believe you want to have a rant about Callum Smith, this Badu Jack situation, and Joe Gallagher.
Yeah, Joe Gallagher's a cunt, like Brian King keeps saying. All his fighters somehow get title shots without even fighting for... When did Callum Smith last fight? Can't even remember.
Blackledge on the undercard of the pay-per-view.
Right, but...
Ruined him a fucking left hook.
The type of people he's been fighting, though, he's not deserving of a world title shot. You know, I think James DeGale, if he was in some fit state after that fight, would have been fighting Callum Smith.
Right.
But because he got busted up, I think that's kind of backfired a little bit there. I think Callum Smith will probably fight for a vacant belt now, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
James DeGale, Badu Jack, just quickly, I didn't get it on last week. I think it was a close fight. From what I've seen, you could argue the case either way. I know some people are saying that the knockdown cost DeGale the fight, and at the end of the fight, DeGale looked the happier out of the two, like more surprised. So I think DeGale was happier with the draw than Jack was with the draw, and you can kind of tell from that that, you know, DeGale probably thought he lost. So,
yeah.
He's away from home.
I noticed, Amir, that this week Joe Gallagher did a guest column in Boxing News, and he said he was annoyed with Floyd. I'm paraphrasing because I only saw it online. I was just trying to zoom in on the words. He's basically saying that he thinks Floyd saw Callum Smith and didn't fancy any of it for Jack. So Jack's moving up into the same division as Stevenson, Kovalev, and Baturbiev to avoid Callum Smith. Do you think he's scared of the power?
Fucking that is.
He's scared of the Smith family name. I mean, fucking hell, Paul Smith is an absolute arsehole. I can't believe he's still fighting. He's probably blocked all of us on Twitter by now. The amount of abuse that, you know, he gets. Callum Smith, I think, is slightly better than Paul Smith. He's just a bit taller, I think, and just a bit better. But it's a bit of a joke, really.
Plus, he's actually in shape, like more or less.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing. But to be honest with you, even I'm in shape compared to Paul Smith, and even Tom is in shape compared to Paul Smith. So do you know what I mean? Paul Smith's last.
Shots fired.
I'm loving this, Amir. Keep going.
What I'm trying to say is Paul Smith doesn't even need to be near a boxing ring. He should be in like a buffet or something. You know, Pizza Hut, KFC, McDonald's, probably in the same day. Yeah, it's a bit of a farce, really. The whole Smith family.
And Amir, we're going to be talking a bit of Frampton-Santa Cruz later on, but just in case you're not around, what are you thinking about that one briefly?
I'm kind of thinking it's a. You might disagree with me here, Steve. I think it's a bit of a pointless rematch. I think Frampton's got his Santa Cruz's number, so I'm pretty confident that Frampton's going to knock him out this time. Pretty confident, and that's saying something. But I think Frampton will finish him off this time. I don't know
what round are you going for? What round are you going for, Amir?
I think Frampton starts off slowly, then builds himself into the fives. And if you notice some of his lesser opponents, he took them out around 5-6, 5-6-7, them sort of rounds.
Yeah.
Or maybe early, but then he's fighting a lot better fighter now. I mean, Santa Cruz is a hell of a fighter, but Frampton just made him look ordinary. That's what I think.
Well, we're going to be going on to that fight very shortly. Is there anything else you want to add before we move on?
Yeah, just quickly. The Chris Eubank situation is an absolute farce. I mean, it's that bad of a fight. I don't even think I'm going to even spend time trying to find a free stream. I don't know what you guys are going to do that night, but I'm definitely not going to watch it. It's just a joke, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I'm not going to be watching it live because I'm going to a show in Belfast that night, so I won't be watching it. But are you trying to say that you're not going to part with the £10 because the undercard's included in the pay-per-view price now, Amir? So it's good value for money, really.
All right, I thought the undercard were going to be free.
No,
it wasn't until ITV forced or ITV just put it out the day that it's going on to pay-per-view entire card.
All of it is. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a shame that, but I will probably find some, a Chinese stream or whatever, and just watch it because I think the Americans definitely can't watch it legally, can they? So even if they wanted to pay for it, but yeah, it's a bit of a joke. I mean, I'll stay on for a bit. Might join in do the chat with you in a bit.
No problem. Right, you stay on if you want. Then.
Steve, I think you're on mute, mate.
Yep, I certainly am on mute. Apologies for that. Smith jumped on the line. Amir was having a go at the Smiths there. I don't think he was having a go at you. Is there anything over the weekend that you've been watching that you want to tell us about, or have you been a bit of a casual this weekend, Smitho?
Well, I don't think you had much choice but to be a casual this weekend. There wasn't much on. I did watch ITV4. I watched that Armfield fight. He jabbed the fella's head off, didn't he? Really, his face was swelling bad. I bet he woke up this morning looking like Denis Lebedev. I forgot the kid's name, but he woke up this morning looking like a swollen ginger Denis Lebedev. That was all right. I don't like that commentator, that Ronald McDonald or whatever his name is. He gets on my nerves. He does get on my nerves. He uses some very strange phrases and he repeats them. And then ITV4 have marked their return, or ITV in general have marked their return to big time boxing with Robbie Davis Jr. against a Hungarian journeyman. I mean, what more do you want from life?
Yeah, but Smitho, let's be honest, right? This was just a soft return. This was a patsy show, wasn't it? To try and push the pay-per-view for next week. That's all it was. Yeah,
it certainly was. Do you know what? They did a promo kind of recording thing for the Eubank after the Robbie Davis fight, and I quite enjoyed it. That was probably one of the best things about the whole show, to be honest. There was backstage or back at camp with Eubank and talking to his dad. They asked a couple of awkward questions about is this IBO title a real title, etc. Showed some good highlights, bit of training. It was all right, but it was all just trying to sell it for a couple of weeks. We've had 20 quid, now we're down to 10 quid. Now the undercards on pay-per-view. I mean, to be honest, I've not got a massive problem with the undercard being on pay-per-view because it almost should be anyway. From their point of view, from ITV and Eubank's point of view, it should be anyway, because who in their right mind, it's not like, I don't know, it's not like you show the first half of the Super Bowl, and it's dead entertaining, and it's nip and tuck, and you're enticed to buy the second half on pay-per-view. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever if David Price versus Hammer is entertaining, not entertaining, don't happen. It don't make any difference how good that is to what the so-called main event will be. So I think they have fudged it. Obviously, did they ever actually outright say the undercard will be on ITV4? Because
I don't think
was
so.
Fudging it. Yeah, Someone said they was fudging it and said there'll be some in the lead up to the pay-per-view. There'll be some live action on ITV4. Well, I think that was last night. So yeah, it's a strange arrangement. I mean, that undercard, we've seen worse undercards, but from Matchroom, we've definitely seen worse undercards. There's, I think they've got Barry Galahad on there. They've got David Price, and will struggle with Hammer. He'll probably win, but he'll struggle. Who else is on there? Steve Etchers and Ryder. That's not a bad fight. That's not a bad fight. Etchers and Ryder. They're both lost before. I think they both got losses to Kamitsky, if they're not.
Sounds like you're going to be paying for this, Adam.
I will not be paying for it. I think that weekend I'm busy, actually, to be honest, on purpose. But no, bollocks, will I be paying for it? I mean, this Renault Quinlan, I mean, come on now. I mean, if he's beat up a shot Gil, he hasn't had many fights, this Quinlan. And the thing we've got to remember about Junior is he's 27. Junior's 27. He needs to be cracking on, really. He's had 15 or 16 fights. He's obviously he's come up short against Billy Joe. He needs to be cracking on. But I mean, look, if they are serious about trying to move on and fight the big names after this with the support of ITV, depending on how it sells, if they are serious, then we'll let them have this one. But it's just they've never proven how serious they are before. They seem like a pain in the arse to everyone. But the thing you can say about they like to, David A. We can say what we want about him, but he has done stuff his own way. He's earned a few quid and he's been in a few big fights. I mean, that could be the way that Eubank's trying to go. And Senior, for all his strange behaviour, he does obviously have his lad's interest at heart. But they just need to go out and prove it there. I mean, Eubank is one of the most exciting fighters in the country. He's obviously got the name. He could sell a ticket. He's now got a platform, ITV. I'm not talking about the pay-per-view. He's now got ITV, which is a big platform. They could go on and do big things, but they just need to do it now and not fight Renault Quinlan on pay-per-view.
Smido has spoken, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still trying to hold out for Tommy to come on. Hopefully he'll be on within the next 5 minutes. Whether he is or not, we're going to start our Frampton-Santa Cruz discussion within about a couple of minutes' time. Just before we do so, I am going to go through a quick round of questions, give one to each of the guys that have come in during the week, or little talking points that I feel need to be brought up. Whenever I logged onto the Hangouts, actually tonight, to start the show, I noticed that they're phasing out the sound effects, unfortunately. So from the next couple of months, you're not going to be able to hear our beloved sound effects, so I just thought I would share that with you. Bit unfortunate, Andy.
Dear diary moment, that one, mate.
Get him in while you
People
can.
will be very thankful for that.
Right, hey to Dave. People will be thankful that you're on the call. I'm thankful for one, because I want to ask you a question here. They're talking about Andre Berto versus Sean Porter. You were saying in the chat the other day that this is a brilliant fight. Tell me why. Hater.
Sorry, was that directed at me? Sorry, what did you say?
Andre Berto against Sean Porter.
Too much watched the NFL. That's what's fucking happening.
I'm mad. The Packers are losing. Andre Berto versus who?
Sean Porter. That's what they're talking about.
Oh, okay. Porter destroys him in, 6 rounds. They're just talking about it, though, so it's not really signed. But, yeah, I'm just going to give it a very basic cursory overview until it actually gets confirmed. Yeah, Porter, obviously. Maybe he wins a decision. If Berto is tough, despite him being pretty chinny, he can get up, and he does have heart. So, yeah, I mean, he might go the distance, but I think it would be cool if Porter, because Berto is very stationary, straight upright, and we saw what Porter did to Pauly, who was pretty straight upright and pretty stationary at that point in his career. I think something similar would happen.
See, Dave, you had much more to say on that fight than you ever thought. Right, Andy, Dom McNamara has been on the Facebook page and he's asking a question to you. He said, if you could have a fighter that you don't like move up in weight and get completely erased and then question why they're even in the sport at all, who is the fighter you would want to get battered and then
that's a good question.
Given the beatdown of their life?
Oof. The list could be long, but very undistinguished, actually. But I'll hear a stab at it. Right, okay. Cloner.
Right.
Jamie Cox. He is a wanker.
Gotta be Paul Smith. Gotta be. Imagine Paul Smith moving up and fighting Kovalev.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yes, please.
Canelo, please, Canelo, someone batter him to death. Not literally, I mean, but just knock him out.
Not again,
please.
Dave.
Not literally.
The YouTube comments again. Jesus, we stopped doing
I said
this.
not literally.
I suppose if we're talking about like, if you ever wonder why they're ring in the first place, I suppose you need to say all the Smith brothers all getting knocked out on the same night on the same card or whatever, you know, just to see Joe Gallagher go to his knees and cry.
Just on Canelo, Steve. I'm going to go off on a tangent. I watched Canelo Cotto the other day. I think I watched it live. I can't remember. I must have fell asleep. But I watched that again the other day. I really like Canelo when he's in the ring, but at the ring, he's just making a mockery of the game. I was hoping Tommy would be on, so I could have a bit of a back and forth with him. But what's this Chavez fight at? What 164?
4.5.
Fucking hell!
Fucking disgrace.
So he fights Cotto at 155. Won't go up to 160 to Triple G, but it'll go to 164. Oh my god! Anyway, they just make. I mean, for him to so-called have the lineage at middleweight is just a very sorry indictment of the game that we've got, really. And I mean, it's not very Mexican type behavior, is it?
So I saw a graphic of the Canelo weight. So Canelo fights at how many weights now? I've lost count.
Every fight, it's a different weight.
He's fighting the Super Canelo weight now.
Yeah, Super Canelo. Yeah, yeah, 164. I mean, look, Chavez ain't making 164.5 without drugs to help him. No chance. Absolutely no chance. He's going to need some diuretics, some strong
marijuana.
Yeah.
He's on the marijuana.
It doesn't matter, man. Listen, it's fucking simple as this. He could actually have AIDS and he'll still not make the fucking weight.
Correct. Yeah, but do you reckon they're going to charge him?
The thing is, if he does make the weight, he's going to be depleted anyway. So, the WBC are going about. I mean, if you look at it as well, actually, Canelo's trainer, what's that fucking prick's name? The butcher's name again?
Ray, someone.
Reynosa, that's what it was. And he says, I were expecting the best Chavez. Aye, fucking right. Jesus Christ. I mean, that guy's going to have to be hooked up to an IV drip just to get into that ring the following night.
I don't know. Has anyone seen the pictures of him working out this week? He looks like he didn't put on any weight between fights. He's looking good.
Got the sweatsuit on, isn't he?
I mean, how's he going to get down in weight? I mean, he's going to have to go into camp, into a concentration camp, maybe?
I think he needs to go to the Sahara Desert and just live there for a week without any food and water.
Get fucking lost. The thing is, though, tonight we've already spoke about Chavez, who's going to be on pay-per-view that we haven't seen for 2 or 3 years or even more. We've spoken about Andre Berto that's not been seen since the embarrassment of the Floyd fight. We're speaking about Paul Smith, who can go from one world title fight to another and just litter some journeyman in between. I mean, it's just, the game's a joke, man, at the minute.
And Tommy, who hasn't been seen for weeks, and he's not on again tonight.
Tommy just turns up big pay-per-view fights like Frampton and Santa Cruz.
He was here last week.
Tommy don't turn up for the ITV4, Davis Jr. against some Hungarian.
He was here last week. I remember because he told me he hoped that I would die in a fiery train crash.
He said a lone wolf was going to come and kill you. Anyway, circling back to Dom's question, for Dom, Tony Bellew moving up to heavyweight and having to fight Tyson Fury, or Charlie Edwards moving to super flyweight and having murdered by Naoya Inoue. So that's what Dom's saying. Another question from Dom. He says, can you get Bryn on to do another Sugar Ray Leonard rant? It's been nearly 12 months. We will try and get Bryn on at some point because he's an excellent panellist, an excellent guest. Smido, Dom's final question. I have no idea what he's talking about here. Maybe you do. He says, last but not least, has Smido put a bet on Idris Elba to win a world title by the end of this year?
Yeah, I've actually recorded that. I didn't watch it. It was on Tuesday night on Discovery. Idris Elba, if you didn't know, Steve, is basically training for an actual fight. I think I've not watched a second of it yet, but I have recorded it. So yeah. But no, the short answer to that is no.
Okay, who've we got? We have Donny, Curtis Stevens against David Lemieux. It's going to be a war. I'm looking forward to this one. I think if Stevens turns up with his head right, he could win this.
It's on the Nation as well.
He's also got a hand injury apparently as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even understand why Dan Rayfield was very dismissive of this fight. This seems to be an all-action fight, doesn't it?
Good fight.
I mean, this is something that's going to probably only go about 6-7 rounds, and it's probably going to end with a brutal knockout. And I think it's set to be a great fight. Stevens says his hand is completely healed, which is good. That means that they can both go, fire bombs away. And I probably favor Stevens, actually, just because I think he has a little bit more defensive skill, a little bit more boxing skill than Lemieux, who can get wild at times. Yeah, I mean that's basically what I think. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but as of course you never do. But I mean, that's well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that's a 50-50 fight between two punchers, and it's on free HBO, which is good for the fans.
That is a good fight.
Oh yes, Smido, go ahead, please tell us.
I think that's a good fight. If Lemieux thinks he's got anything, if he's serious about getting back into the mix, then he needs to really turn up there. I think he's had one fight since Golovkin. Is that right, Steve?
Lemieux, yes, he beat some Argentinian guy, didn't he? Wasn't he supposed to have a fight and then he didn't like the terms or the money or something, and he pulled out quite late?
No, they don't make. There was another fight. Didn't they make the weight?
Is that what it was?
I'm sure it was actually. I think the entire card maybe got pulled in Canada or something. I'm pretty sure he pulled it at one fight.
Something funny went on, yeah.
But no, it's a cracking fight. I look forward to watching that.
Billy Joe Saunders is back. He's supposed to be defending against this Kurt Sidze. The announcement is imminent, maybe tomorrow, who knows. And he's also training with Adam Booth now. Do you think that's a good move for him?
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I'm not too sure if that's going to work. It could work, but then again, doesn't he have that MGM Marbella sort of thing going on?
He does, but I think they have a managerial agreement, but they go off and train. They don't have to train in MGM. They can have their own individual trainers, I think.
But have you guys noticed that? I think you guys have mentioned this maybe on the competitive pod. They've said every fighter that from the MGM gym recently hasn't done that well. So are they just partying over there and having fun and not really taking it seriously? So Danny Matthews now is training in Scotland and then LA. So obviously it's not working for him.
I think he's still aligned though, isn't he, Andy? Aren't they still aligned to the MGM brand? They're just not training over there.
They're what, mate? They're all taking lines over there.
I think they're partying me. I think they are training, but I think it's too much of a cosy atmosphere, as someone said.
Yeah, I agree with you. What about this Kurt Sidze? Anybody have any views on him? Has anybody actually seen him fight? Is he another Kirill relic?
No, mate. Listen, this Garcia-Zlaticanin, the one for Saunders. Listen, mate. This is okay. He's no absolutely brilliant, but he basically absolutely beat the shit, picking probably even any potential out of that young American kid. What do you call him?
Was it Antoine Douglas?
Antoine Douglas, that was his name. He absolutely ruined him, mate. I think he's only like 21, 22-year-old, that kid. But he's just constant. He's rugged, come forward, just constantly throwing punches and that. But Saunders, if he's in good shape, he could probably outbox him. But it's not a fight whereas you come out and you say, "Oh, I'm maybe going to retire." And that. If you've got their thoughts and that, then don't fight this guy, because this guy could basically turn an upset if he's not trained properly. And Kadzadze's up for it. That's a fucking tough night. It's a tough night for anyone.
Good.
Yeah, because Smido, I think, aren't they talking about? I might have got this all mixed up, so if I'm getting this wrong, then please somebody shoot me. But they're talking about someone said Joseph Parker, Huey Fury. I'm not sure whether it's going to be all on the same card. And Liam Smith, Liam Williams, aren't they going to announce some kind of blockbuster with all these mad fights on?
That Liam Smith, Liam Williams is a fantastic fight.
Yep, it was one of my fights that I wanted to see domestically this year.
Yeah, same for me. No, that's a cracking fight, and I think they're going to try and get the Canelo belt that was formerly held by Liam Smith back on the line, vacant for that Smith against Williams, battle of the Liams. So no, that's a good one. And there was a question earlier, Steve, about have a bet on someone to win a title this year. Liam Williams is the one that got away. I didn't commit to it, and he was 8-1, and he certainly won't be 8-1 to beat Liam Smith. So that's the one that got away there. But no, I mean, if that happened all on the same night, then fair enough. But because Frank says he's going to up his game, he's got this BT money and this BT deal now, and that'll be a cracker. the problem I've got with this Huey Fury. I mean, look, Huey Fury by all accounts has been serving a drugs ban. He's beat practically no one. He's been signed to fight or rumored to fight quite a lot of decent, tests, but he's never got, for whatever reason, they've never gone through. And if he ends up with Joseph Parker, that is yet another example of the terrible state boxing he's in at the moment.
Yeah, I'm a bit fed up with Huey Fury, I must admit. He seems like a guy who's got talent, but I don't know why he's in a world title fight. And after Peter Fury said, he'll fight anybody, and there was talk of Tony Thompson, he just hasn't fought anybody. I mean, you can't keep saying, this fight fell through because of this reason, and this one because of this, and this one because of this. There must be a common denominator. Why is he not fighting anybody decent?
Well, he's either bottling it or he's been serving a drugs ban.
Allegedly. Right.
No, fuck it. I'd fuck all that PC shit. We'll say what we want. I think he's been serving a drugs ban. Come and get me.
Well, the thing is, right, see if you're serving a drugs ban, why has UCAD not got that shit up on the website? And why is nothing being mentioned?
The only thing that's on that website is that there was two boxers in 2016 failed a drugs test, but it won't tell you.
I mean, it's almost a year since Huey Fury fought, and he's going to get a world title shot potentially. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's a joke.
We're still trying to get Tommy onto the call. I'm not sure whether he's in out of Azerbaijan, but he said that all of a sudden the link isn't working for him. So any fans of Tommy, we are endeavouring to get him on as quickly as we can. In the meantime, final question to Donny Baseball. Donny, David Haye has teamed up with the Snake himself, Richard Schaefer, Ringstar Promotions and Haymaker are as one. Do you think this is a good move? Do you even care about this? What's going to go down here?
I mean, no, I don't really care about his career at this particular point in time until he fights somebody who has a good chance of beating him and ending it. And I'm eager for that day to come. But anyways, yeah, I mean, it's probably, if he wants, he says he has about 5 fights left in him, I think I heard. If maybe one of those is in the States against Deontay Wilder, maybe that's why he's trying to develop a stateside presence. And if that's the case, at least I'll be happy because Deontay Wilder has the power to put his lights out, which is what I'm eager to see.
This link up, Steve, I don't like David Haye's just cutting his pie to another. He's cutting another section of his payment pie to another party. They're going to need David Haye is not, and whatever it is, Ringstar, are not in a position as we speak to have their own broadcast deal. So they're going to have to piggyback onto, they're going to have to work alongside the likes of the Eubanks or Frank or Edward. Channel 5 have been and gone. I don't see another outlet for David Haye.
That's wrong. That's wrong, Adam, because he's got the Dave Network.
Oh yeah, superb. Yeah. Fair, yeah. No, I don't know. It just seems a bit strange to me because Schaefer's obviously going to want paying. It's just a little bit strange. Is this a David Haye to get in the American market, as we've mentioned for Wilder, or is this a serious move from Richard Schaefer to get in the British market? I'm not decided yet.
Well, I'm wondering, Smitho, if Schaefer's trying to get in the British market, and I noticed Haye and Eubank Jr. seem to be hanging around with each other a lot on social media recently. Do you think there's something there?
Yeah, potentially. That could be, that could definitely be an avenue in. Obviously, the Eubanks, whatever they're calling themselves, a promotional outfit, they haven't got enough fighters or contacts to fill any sort of substantial ITV schedule. So yeah, maybe they do need David Haye.
Right, we shall go to our questions later on and finish them off, or any talking points at the end, Bellew of the Weeks and such. Smitho has been nominated for Bellew of the Week while we are live on air. For a comment, Smitho, you shall have to wait later on to find out what crime you have committed.
Yes, and no problem, yeah.
Right, we're going to get into the preview for next week. This is going to be the main segment of our show, so everyone's going to have a big chance to say whatever they want to. Over to the MGM Grand on Saturday the 28th of January 2017. Carl Frampton against Santa Cruz for the WBA Super World Featherweight title. On the undercard, real nice looking undercard. I'm going to be in there from the beginning, hopefully. Garcia-Zlaticanin against Mikey Garcia. Lee Selby as well against Jonathan Victor Barros. 3 world title fights and some tasty fights as well. Making up the card, Josh Taylor's on. David Benavidez. This Jorge Lara fight against Oktay Takalak could be quite good. I think I'm right in saying Lara was the guy who starched an ancient Fernando Montiel recently. Ivan Redcatch is back on, not really too fussed about him. And a couple of other lesser guys. Who have we got? Let's go to Dave the Hater low back. Carl Frampton against Leo Santa Snooze, as Seb would label them. Big fight. We've already seen it once in New York. Is it going to go the same way, Dave, or do you see Santa Cruz being able to turn the tables on this one?
I believe it will go a similar way. I do not agree with Amir Khan that there's going to be a knockout involved in this fight. I don't see either guy really being smart enough to make hugely significant adjustments. We might see some slight things, but I mean, it's going to be a fluke, I think, or a big shock if one of them gets knocked out. I don't think Santa Cruz has the power, and I don't think Frampton has the pressure and the because I mean, to stop Santa Cruz, he's a tough guy. It's going to take a lot of punches. I think you're not just going to end him in one shot. Yeah, I don't think Frampton can do that. I think it's going to be another close fight. I do think Frampton will probably win this close again, maybe a bit more clearly. The first fight I think I had Santa Cruz by a point. I mean, it wasn't a robbery or anything, not like last week, but it was a good close competitive fight. Yeah, I have no problem with Frampton getting the decision in that one. And I think he's going to probably get it clearer in this one because he's going to have more confidence going into this. And I really don't think Santa Cruz is smart enough to do what he needs to do to deal with Frampton. So Frampton, 115, 113 type of fight.
Donnie's jumped off the call. I was going to actually go to him next. Andy, I'll come to you instead. The thing is, I was talking to quite a few people this week, like fighters, current fighters, ex-fighters, doing bits of stuff, pieces for the newspaper and that. And one of the things, I was talking to Harry Hawkins. You guys probably might not know him. He was Bernard Dunn's trainer and Brian McGee's trainer when they were both active. And we were talking about Santa Cruz's style. And I seem to think that Santa Cruz, he's always venerated for throwing over 1,000 punches and that. But I said to Harry, do you think that he should maybe throw a few less? And Harry Hawkins agreed. He says he thinks that Santa Cruz throws too many punches, basically. He gets to a point where he just throws without any thought, and he would maybe scale back a couple of 100 punches and have a bit more quality over quantity because he ends up smothering himself. Do you think that's an opinion that should be taken into consideration?
It's a fair comment, because usually when he's in close, he's letting shots go over the place. He always kind of tries to get that right uppercut in as well, but no, really, it's just more like a kind of sliding shot rather than a proper full-blown uppercut. He's always been known as a kind of volume puncher, but against like maybe fighters that can blow his level or whatever, and that he can actually overpower him. He's up against a guy who's actually got technical ability, can box a bit. He's always going to have problems. I was always convinced. I don't know how far back you can remember actually, but I must be going back at least 2.5 years. I was convinced that Frampton would beat Santa Cruz. My pick still isn't changing this time around, but I just don't think Santa Cruz can actually adapt in any way different to actually beat Frampton, unless he comes out early doors actually and tries to kind of just forget going 12 rounds and just try and kind of force the issue. But I still think he's going to get picked off. Carl having obviously kind of short at arms and that kind of wee stocky guy. I think he actually he surprises kind of Santa Cruz, especially when he explodes with his shots, because obviously you don't expect him actually kind of out jab him as such, because obviously he's got the shorter reach, but he did the out jabbed Santa Cruz for good portions of that fight. Really good fight the first time round about. As I say, some people had it as their fight of the year. Off the back of that fight, most people actually had Frampton win a fight of the year, actually mainly based off that fight. But it's going to be another cracker. I think the whole card itself actually is looking pretty good. It just shows you as well you don't have to stick it on pay-per-view to get fucking good card. I'm really looking forward to Zlaticanin against Garcia also. A lot of question marks around about that. Firstly, why did Garcia get that title shot? He's only had one fight in 2 years and he's got a world title shot, but we'll come to that. But Frampton Santa Cruz, I probably agree with Dave. I actually think I can probably see it being another close decision win for Frampton. But I can see it going pretty much the same way as the first fight. It's just more a matter as Santa Cruz got it to kind of basically hurt Frampton. He could possibly do it, but I also believe as well, as based off the first fight, Santa Cruz is going to be very, very wary of the power that Frampton carries, because obviously you saw it yourself. You were there actually. He basically buckled him. The 7th round, or whatever it was. But so
second, I think it was, Andrew.
Was it second round?
Yeah, I think so.
So there you go. He buckled them early doors, but so it's going to be very cagey. I would think for the first couple of rounds, Frampton basically he's just far superior boxing now. Who's going to basically win the fight early doors for him? He'll probably start kind of maybe shipping a few rounds, maybe going down the stretch as Santa Cruz tries to put it on him. But I think this is where we're going to see Frampton again, just kind of like he did in the first fight. I think it was at round 8, he had a pretty bad round, maybe round 7 it was. They came back out in the round afterwards and basically dominated it, or just kind of like took it over again. So I think we'll probably need to see Frampton do that again to basically kind of get into the scorecards. And I did notice one judge, Dave Moretti, he was the one that had the Pacquiao Vargas fight 114-113. So if you had that fight pretty wide, then you think that maybe Moretti's kind of a judge to watch. But it's going to be interesting. Will Carl get a fresh shake on the cards? I think he will. Maybe a split decision possibly to try and keep it right. But yeah, Frampton 115-113 type of fight for me.
Smido, we had a question in from Sean Anslow. I'm going to ask it to you. I'll put my 2 pence worth in first. He says, where does Frampton go after this fight? What are the options available, win or lose? I think if he loses, it's all set up for the rubber match, which I have a sneaky suspicion will probably take part in Los Angeles. Even though Santa Cruz says that he'll go over to Belfast, I don't believe he'll ever step foot in Belfast in a fighting capacity. I just don't believe. He told me that himself on the phone 2 years ago. I just don't believe he's going to fight in Belfast. I think the rubber match will be in Los Angeles if it does, or maybe in Vegas again if it takes place. And win, I think it's all set up for the big fight with Lee Selby, provided he beats Barros. They'll have an outdoor show. It'll be in Belfast. Maybe they'll do it at Windsor Park or out at the Titanic Slipways again, something like that. What are you thinking, win or lose, Smid?
Well, I think you've covered it quite well there, really, Steve. I watched a Showtime segment the other day, and there was on about eventually going on to conquer at a third weight division. I'm not saying that will be immediate, but that's kind of a medium to long term plan that Carl's clearly got. The Selby one looks there, obviously, with the Selby's now fighting in America, but I think Selby's is in danger of getting lost almost and losing if he carries on fighting under the radar. He's got no following at all. But I mean, this fight, I don't know if it's going to go Frampton's way, to be honest. Santa Cruz has clearly got to change something from what he did last time. We all know the story of last time that Frampton hurt him reasonably early. And then, got Frampton, as the longer the fight wore on, the more Frampton got drawn into a bit of a scrap. And it was a cracking fight to watch. Clearly, Santa Cruz has got to change his game plan for this time round. And, it goes without saying that if Frampton does the same again, obviously he should win. So the onus is on Santa Cruz. I think Santa Cruz has got a little bit of improvement in him. I know I'm not necessarily calling it an excuse, but with the situation with his father last time, he should be in a better frame of mind this time, and I think he has got it in him to possibly change his game plan, Santa Cruz. But I mean, Carl Frampton managed to beat someone last time that threw 1,100 punches, so it was a fantastic fight and a fantastic performance from Frampton, and I think rightly so that he was given Fighter of the Year, to be fair.
What do you think would be the tactics that Santa Cruz should adjust to? I mean, what should he do instead?
Well, you've done me there. You've done me there a bit, Dave. That's a cracking question. I don't know. Does he? Well, you can't really say go for it more because he's thrown 1,100 goddamn punches.
Do you think Smido should step off a bit more and
I was just about to say
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Maybe it's to slow down. Maybe it's to slow down a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, Frampton is that damn good. Going backwards, forwards. He could. Santa Cruz could easily slow the pace down or take a step back and still get beat. So. On reflection, they'll say, well, for the first time, you absolutely went for it and got done. Why did why have you gone backwards this time? I don't know. He's in a tough situation, Santa Cruz. Something has got to change. They'll know that. They don't need me to tell them. I think it'll be a good fight again. Do I think it'll be quite as good as the first one? I'm not sure. I can't necessarily see anyone getting a knockout, to be fair. And I think with it being in Vegas, there is potential for
robbery.
For this to go for a draw or a close Santa Cruz and then get the rubber match. I'll just say on the odds, Steve, before I shut my mouth.
Yes.
It's basically a role reversal from last time. So this time we have Frampton as the 8-11 favourite, and you can get Santa Cruz at the opposite price. Before the last fight, Frampton was actually 13-8, so it's got, it's a little bit of an opposite, opposite of last time, and quite a bit of a swing, to be fair. But I mean, I won't be in a rush to bet on this one, and I'll just be sitting back and watching it. To be fair, it should be another crack.
Why not? Just bet every outcome, you'll be fine.
Oh well, yeah, I might do that. I just, as long as you have a tenner on the draw, just to make sure. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and the undercard is fantastic. To be honest, it's a really good undercard as well.
Yeah, we're coming to the undercard just shortly. Amir, I'm a little bit worried. I don't know where. I think it will be the same sort of fight as last time. Maybe what you like. I'm wondering if the judges are maybe be inclined to give that split decision, that majority decision, to Santa Cruz this time. I am a little bit worried, but I should have more confidence in Carl, having seen most of his professional fights live, especially the championship ones. Anyway, he has the skills, he has the tools to do this job. Should I be right to be concerned about his welfare on the cards?
No, I mean, he's 8-11 with the markets, and normally they go for the home fighter. And Frampton, let's not get it twisted, is the away fighter. This time, I think last time it was more 50-50. I think this time it's more 70-30 in Frampton's favour. That's my opinion anyway. Because last time I couldn't pick between them. I think I just sat on the fence last time. But I think this time Frampton knows what Santa Cruz is going to do. Throw loads of punches. Frampton has to, evade punches like he does, and just shots and just counter him as he did last time. And hopefully, I think if Santa Cruz gets a bit silly, like Pacquiao did against Marquez in the fight, and hopefully gets knocked out. But that's asking a lot, Santa Cruz is a hell of a fighter.
Do you think he might get a bit desperate, Amir, towards the end of the fight if he thinks it's like the same sort of fight as the first one, maybe 9 and 10, really start throwing?
It's going to get to his head, isn't it? He's going to think, oh, hang on a minute, I've been here before, I lost last time. I mean, were the cards even close last time? I can't remember. I know the fight was close. One
of them was 117, 111, I think, wasn't it, to Frampton? The other one was a draw, 114, 114. The other one was maybe 116, 112, was it? Or 15, 13? I can't remember.
I think that last card you said is about right. There's no way that fight was a draw. I don't know what that judge were doing, to be honest. Was it CJ Ross by any chance? But, I mean, it's made for Frampton. I think Frampton wins this fight. Selby comes through, and then Frampton goes up a bit and whoops Selby's ass, and then I think Brian King will be like. But I think Frampton is one hell of a fighter. I think in the last few years, I mean, I wasn't a fan at first. I actually picked Quigg to actually beat him, which was the bit of a foolish of me, but
casual.
Quite
a lot of people did. A lot of idiots did pick Quigg, maybe by knockout. Even some of them, I mean, don't worry about that.
In round 6, possibly.
Good friends of mine picked Quigg. So I mean, some of you guys picked Quigg. I'm not saying names or.
You can name names because I didn't pick them.
Yeah, well, me.
I think a few of us did anyway, but I mean, Frampton just showed his quality, and I think he's just got it in abundance. I can just see him winning rings round, Santa Cruz, and just doing him, hopefully. So yeah, it'll be a good fight.
Yeah, I've brought up the scores in front of me, by the way, for anybody who's interested. It was Guido Cavalieri who scored it 114-114, the draw. Frank Lombardi had it 116-112, and Tom Schreck had it 117-111. I just think, yeah, that one was ridiculous, Dave. Dave, do you think that Santa Cruz comes in straight lines mostly? Frampton, one thing that he does do very well is his judgment of range and distance. I think is one of his greatest assets. He'll be able to time Santa Cruz coming in. So, as we said before, Santa Cruz is going to have to try and come up with something a little bit different. Maybe, as Jim Watt used to say, throw a feint before he comes in, but there's not much likelihood of that happening, is there, Dave?
Well, what exactly is the question again?
Santa Cruz is going to have to do something a little bit differently from the first fight. Maybe, as Jim Watt used to say, throw a feint, but it's not likely that Santa Cruz is going to do that, is he, Dave?
Just based on his I mean, the guy has boxing skill. No, there's no denying that. I was a real big fan of what he did against Mares with the catching and pitching, and I thought that's what was going to win him the the Frampton fight. The problem is Frampton counters and Frampton moves backward. So I'm thinking, what if Santa Cruz lets him come to him a little bit? Feinting, I mean, I don't know if that's in his arsenal. I hope he can bring it out, because I'd like to see a different fight than last time. Even though the last fight was good, still like to see adaptation and evolution in the sport, and hopefully Santa Cruz can show us something. But yeah, I don't think he's that imaginative, and I think he's probably going to do something similar to what he did last time. That's why I think it's going to be Frampton's going to bank some early rounds, and then he'll probably eventually get sucked into the fight, and it'll be sort of close the rest of the way.
I think it's funny, as I can't remember if it was Andy or Adam mentioned earlier, guys, about this being on quote-unquote free TV. Effectively, you're paying your Sky subscription, but you're not paying anything on top of that. And so was Ward Kovalev, where I don't want to get dragged into a black hole, but just thought we'd make this point. And then you've got the likes of Joshua. It's just a case of marketing sometimes, style over substance in this sport is the order of the day. Right, let's get on to the undercard then. Lightweight, Andy, I know you want to get stuck into this one. You are right about Mikey Garcia, and we should make this point, even though it's a good fight and there's a tendency that we could say, oh, well, it doesn't matter, it's a great fight. We'll just overlook the fact that he's getting this title shot. But you really should be holding up the sport to account and saying, after this long layoff, why are the WBC sanctioning to fight this guy, even though it's a good fight?
Brown envelope, mate. It's going to be just the kind of, a wee donation to the old Don Suleiman. I mean, I noticed I had some sort of service, so maybe it just paid for the flowers for the old man's coffin or whatever. I'm not too sure on his graveside, but that aside, it is a good fight as such. Just the fact is that, obviously the concern is Garcia's not fought mainly for 2 years. If you look at his last fight, I wasn't all that impressed with him, in all honesty. I did think he lost the first 2 rounds to Rojas, even though he then got back in and dropped the guy in the third. I think he stopped him in the fifth, I think it was. But I just think he looked slightly disjointed. Maybe not as quick as he was. Well, obviously, at the end of the day, he's been in the ring for a while, so you can lay that on him. But this is not a type of guy you really want to be out the ring with and actually then come back and having to fight him, because this, Zlaticanin just put it on him for about the first 6-7 rounds until it'll be interesting to see how his tank holds up. If he comes forward in straight lines like he normally does, and Garcia can actually get his timing done pretty well, you could bust him up with a jab and maybe force a late stoppage. It's certainly not against the realms of possibility, but I actually want Zlaticanin to win. Simple fact is, I think he would actually fight anybody in that lightweight division. Whereas Garcia, I think he's basically kind of mainly pointed out that he's looking to fight at lightweight for maybe a couple of fights, pick up a title, and then gradually kind of build himself up and go up to 140. Maybe at some point, maybe even get the Pacquiao fight. You never know, because that was Bob Arum's big idea, wasn't it? Well, that was Donny's thinking actually behind it at one point, that Garcia was being groomed to take over the mantle for Pacquiao, and obviously he had the legal problems. But very good fight. As I says, I'm even looking forward to Selby Barrios as well. But this one for chief support is absolutely fucking brilliant. Pulling hard for Zlaticanin, but I'm not really wanting to make an official prediction, because obviously I've got a bit of personal involvement in this one. But I would probably going to have to go with Garcia, potentially, as I say, with late stoppage. If he can get his timing down, though, this is the main thing. If he can actually, I do expect him to struggle early doors, maybe for the first 3-4 rounds. He maybe gets that timing sorted out, by which point you maybe just start measuring him off and maybe start teeing up the shots and that. But as I say, maybe late stoppage, maybe tight points, who knows? But it says could change over the course of the week. Really good fight.
Smido, to my immense shame, I'm sitting here thinking, I've never actually seen Zlaticanin fight. I've been meaning to watch him on YouTube, but I haven't. The night he fought Ricky Burns, I think I was at a local show, so I didn't actually see that one. And I haven't had a chance to see any of the other ones. I'm just looking down his record, Smido. The names that strike me, not a great deal of household names, a lot of filler in there, I think, but Peter Petrov was half decent when he beat him in 2013. Obviously upset Ricky Burns with a split. And then Ivan Redkach is the big win for me in 2015. But saying that, Redkach, who's on the undercard of this fight, was also on the last Santa Cruz Frampton undercard, and he was comprehensively outboxed by Tevin Farmer, a man who couldn't buy a win early on in his career. So are we overrating Zlaticanin here? Having not seen him, what can you tell me about him? Please, God, tell me you've seen him.
Yeah, I saw him against Ricky, and I think I possibly saw the most of the Redkach fight. The Redkach is probably his best win, but like you say, Steve, the form of that fight's not worked out very well. I just think you've got to give someone like Zlaticanin credit. You know, he's fought basically all over the place. I know he originally from Montenegro or whatever they call in them countries nowadays, but he came over. He was an outsider, a big underdog actually against Ricky Burns, beat him with a degree of ease, and then has obviously gone on to America and done pretty well. I mean, he's going to be the outsider against Mikey Garcia. Unsurprisingly, but you know, I wouldn't be writing off Zlaticanin. To be fair, I think he's a good operator, and he's obviously improved since he's been over in America as well. So he can bang a little bit. Obviously, I'm not saying that he's gonna be banging out Mikey Garcia, but I think it's a good test for Mikey Garcia. I know Andy's got his problems with him getting a title shot after however many years out, but I think there's little denying that, you know, Garcia is a potential genuine star in America, and you know, the sooner he gets onto the bigger fights, the better, really.
Hey to Dave Loback, let's have a bit of Garcia chat from you. He's got all the names on his record. He's won the world titles, but they're all pre-2014. Sorry, he's only had one fight in the 2 years that he's been out, and that was against Elio Rojas, which was a while ago again now, if you think about it, 7 or 8 months or whatever it is. Is there a chance that Garcia could look brilliant for the first 6 or 7 rounds, but something that we didn't see against Rojas, if he gets taken into the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th even, and Zlaticanin's still there, putting the pressure on him, forcing him back, will he start to feel those 2 years out? Or will the fact that he's been working over in the gym, Dave Loback, keeping himself in decent shape, will that put him in good stead, or do you think that the ring rust will start to tell?
Well, that's the fact that makes this a great fight rather than just a good opponent for Mikey Garcia, him being out and inactive. I would say if this was Mikey Garcia, like just participating and continuing on his normal momentum, how he was looking for a while there, smashing Martinez, smashing Salido for most of the fight until, of course, he got the headbutt. Then smashing. Oh, he also comprehensively beat Mini Burgos, which was a good win. He did show very slight signs of vulnerability in those fights, but for the most part, it was all class. And if he was continuing that trend on, I would say, well, yeah, he's gonna do something similar to Zlaticanin. He's gonna maybe show a moment or two of vulnerability. Maybe he gets dropped once, won't be too serious. But overall, he's gonna win the fight, clear UD or late stoppage, something like that. But the fact that he's been out, I think, makes this interesting as a fight instead of just a good opponent for him, a good name on his record. He didn't look very good to me in the first couple rounds against Rojas' last fight. I thought he lost him too, and I was like, what's going on here? He looks nothing like the Mikey Garcia of old. He did eventually turn it on, but I'm thinking I've still got to go with him because what he was when he was active was phenomenal. I mean, his jab, I love his jab, his left hook to the head and the body. It can drop you with one shot. The way he moves backward and throws punches with good power, it's excellent stuff. And Zlaticanin, I mean, I know he comes forward in an educated fashion, but he does come forward, and that will kind of put himself in Mikey Garcia's wheelhouse. I would like to see Zlaticanin win too. I mean, I don't have a real horse in this race. May the best man win, but I do like how Zlatikanin's been more active and actually seems to care more about boxing instead of that layoff kind of cooled me off on Garcia, and it was irritating to see that so much talent just sit on the sidelines for whatever 2 years, however long he sat on the sidelines for. It was disappointing. So either way, I mean, this is a better fight than a main event as far as I'm concerned. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's I would say a higher caliber of fighter than what's going on in the main event, actually. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I would say Zlatikanin, close points decision, or Mikey Garcia by mid-round stoppage. I think those are the two outcomes we're looking for here. I'm leaning right now towards Mikey Garcia by mid-round stoppage.
Yeah, just Amir, before we bring you in on this one, talking about Garcia's layoff, a little bit of a shameless plug, but sure, why not? whenever I was over at New York, I spoke to Garcia, and if you want to go on the YouTube page, you can hear me. It only lasts for about 5 minutes of your time, and he explained briefly about his thinking behind the layoff and what he thinks of Bob Arum and what have you. So that might be of interest to you. Amir, do you have anything to throw in on Garcia-Zlaticanin?
Yeah, I think Garcia is going to absolutely school him. I mean, I remember him fighting Conception, you know, when he knocked him out, when the fight stopped. And then Salido, you know, that tough guy, you know, he absolutely beat him up. Lopez, he had a good fight with him, you know, stopped him. Roman Martinez, I think he fought Ricky Burns, I think.
Yeah, he did. And,
you know, he's fought some good fighters, but like you said, you spoke to him, he's had a break, so maybe the break's done him good.
Do you think that this fight could be, a case of a bit like a Postol-Crawford? It could be really interesting going in, really interesting for the first 2 or 3 rounds, then all of a sudden we get into a pattern where Garcia makes Zlaticanin look a little bit pedestrian and ordinary?
I think so. I think quality is quality at the end of the day when it comes to fighting, and I think this kid's got it. He's just had a break. I mean, I remember him having hand issues, or is that me just making that up? Can't really remember, but he had some kind of issues anyway. I know he had promotional issues, and I think he can really do big things. He needs to obviously beat this kid up, hopefully knock him out. But we all like knockouts, and they don't tend to happen that much in close fights. But yeah, I think he's gonna win. It just depends how good he looks in winning. If he's going to stop him or, you know, do it on points. I don't know what you guys think, but I think the referee might need to jump in at some point in this one.
I think that
turns up.
I think that Garcia, whenever he was on the comeback trail, he was targeting Terry Flanagan, he said. But I think that he was targeting any belt, but he would have preferred Flanagan because he thought it was the easier route. I think the fact he's got the Zlaticanin fight now means that he's not after Flanagan. I think Flanagan will end up fighting Felix Verdeo at some point.
I think Flanagan's on the level of Mikey Garcia, no disrespect, but from what I've seen so far, I mean, it's like 3-4 levels above. Don't know what you guys think about that.
I wouldn't say 3 or 4 levels, but definitely a good couple anyway. I mean, it's all abstract, really, isn't it?
With the names he's fought anyway, today, Flanagan, it's not to the caliber of thing he's beat, you know. He's fought unbeaten fighters, and fighters that have won world titles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight like you guys are. I think the main event, this should be the main event. You know, so I'm glad
I think
get some more good boxing on, you know.
How should this be the main event? You can't have this fight as the main event. Santa Cruz Frampton's way bigger fight than these two.
But we kind of know the outcome in that one, don't we? In this one, it's more like, you know, it's more of a suspense for me anyway. You know, Mikey Garcia might be shit. We don't know. Hopefully, he's as good as he was.
I think the fact of the matter is, in the main event, you know what you're going to get, 2 world-class operators, whereas in this one, Garcia, he's had the layoff, so there's a bit of a question mark over that, and Zlaticanin, we don't know how good he'll be when he steps up to the main level, so there's a bit of a question mark over this one.
Yeah, you don't know, do you guys? I mean, Garcia might get knocked down in the first 2 rounds twice. We don't know. We don't know. You know that then it will be a fight. You know, if he does, from an entertainment casual point of view. But I think in the main event, as you guys were saying, we're kind of predicting the same sort of fight, which isn't always the case. Fights tend to play out differently to what we think sometimes. So generally, we tend to think, you know, when we're fairly certain, and that's what normally happens. Just
Well said, Amir. Right, let's get on to the final world title fight on this card then. Lee Selby. He's been treading water a little bit. He's in against this Argentine, pretty decent Argentine, actually. I thought I'd seen him before. Yuriorkis Gamboa beat him on points. He also went the distance with the favourite fighter of mine. I know Andy always liked this guy, the Beast, the travelling beast, Celestino Caballero. And he went the distance with Juan Carlos Salgado as well. And then got knocked out by Mikey Garcia. So he's been in good company, Andy, this Barros.
He has been
you've gone a bit robot on us, Andy, there. Sorry, just want to reconnect yourself, and we'll maybe bring you in, Smido. Do you have anything to say about this one?
I'm just a bit disappointed, like you say, Steve. Selby's treading water. I mean, we've not seen him since since April 2016. You know, it's just a shame that we haven't seen him since then. Barrios, I'm sure we've seen this Barrios before, haven't we? I mean, he's been around a long time. You know, he's had 46 fights. But you know, I think he's going to be. Well, he's got a link into Mikey Garcia. To be fair, he got knocked out by Mikey Garcia, this Barrios. But it's one of them. You just don't know how good he's going to be. I mean, we've seen some terrible Argentines come over. I mean, he's the run of it. He's had an half decent split decision win in Japan last year, but before that, it was fighting blokes with 7 losses on the record, 17 losses, 23 losses. I mean, we just don't know how to really take that. Selby should be winning, but it's just one of them. I just don't think you can really rely on Selby. Selby should be going out here. He's got, you know, potential links to the main event. He should be going out and putting a show on and scoring a knockout. But we've said that about Selby before, and you know, if he's not in the mood, he can just stand there. He can just stand there and try and bedazzle his opponent rather than putting his foot down and going for the knockout, which I think he should be doing more often. I mean, it'll be interesting to see Selby again. I mean, why have we not seen him for 10 months? Is there been an injury? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't know whether the PBC fancy him or whether he hasn't been happy with what he's been offered. He said he wanted to fight the winner of this one the first time round. He's obviously fallen out with Eddie, hasn't he? He's not with Matchroom at all now.
It's not good enough. It isn't good enough. I mean, you know, he's a provincial fighter with a world title. He's got practically no following. You know, he should be doing better. But I mean, you know, we've seen British fighters with smallish followings go over there, fight quite regularly and earn good money. I'm thinking about DeGale. DeGale's obviously got more of a following than Selby, but you know, they're going out there and earning money, but he's not even earning money. So never mind building his fan base. So I think Selby will win by knockout, to be honest.
I'll tell you what Burroughs' game plan should be. He should just go in and hit Selby in the nuts for 12 rounds straight. The referee is Russell Mora. He won't call it.
Dave's laid out the game plan. Andy, want to hear a sound check from you?
How is it? Okay.
Perfect. Go on ahead there.
So we're discussing the Barrios fight. I know Selby's pretty much a heavy favourite in this one. Yeah. At the same time, Barrios is experienced. The question mark is well, he's definitely past his prime anyway, but he's just been in one too many fights, tough fights. I know he's been with some good fighters like early years, but Selby is, you know, he's very talented, but at the same time, as both guys probably going to struggle at the weight as well. I would imagine Selby's going to basically kind of out jab him boxing. But the other thing as well is he can't afford to kind of like switch off like he did against that what do you call him, Eric Hunter guy. Maybe he could drop early in that fight. Maybe just again he maybe fights on the level of his opposition, but you know, at the same time, as this guy's got to be respected. At the same time, he's got to do what he's got to do. He's got a big payday potentially waiting for him at the back of this, so he's got to look good. He can't afford 0 slip-ups. That much we know, but hopefully he can get through this and we can get a big unification fight, probably on pay-per-view in the UK. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Could they justify that in the UK pay-per-view with that being the headline? I know Frampton's popular.
They did Quig though. They did Quig, Smidder.
Yeah, but Selby. I mean, even compared to Quig, Selby ain't that. You know, he ain't even on Quig's level, and that's low. That's a low level of popularity.
Yeah, Selby has not looked good in his last couple of fights.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, is he regressing? I don't know. Under Al Heyman, just getting fat, making money. You know, maybe he's forgetting about what got him there.
Yeah, but Dave, if he ain't fighting, he ain't making money. That's my thing.
Yeah, he just makes enough money in one crappy fight for the whole year compared to what he used to be doing. Well, who knows? I don't know. Is Al Heyman still paying his guys like he used to? I mean, that money's got to run out at some point.
I don't know that he is, Dave. I think, didn't they a few things changed, didn't they? Here, Dave, while you're all pumped up for this one, where do Oscar Valdez and Gary Russell Jr. fit into the whole equation? Obviously, Valdez is a bit of an outlier because he's with Top Rank, but Russell Jr., he seems to fight like once a year.
Oh, I am so disappointed in him. I mean, back when, it was 4 years ago, and we saw him sort of burgeoning onto the stage, and we thought, this guy is going to be awesome. This guy looks like a prospect to watch. Look at his skills. Look at his speed. Look at his combos. What's he done? I mean, The Gonzalez win was good. Yeah. What has he done other than that? He got schooled by Lomachenko and fights once a year, pulls out half the time. It's terrible. I mean, why doesn't the guy like to fight? His brother, the one that recently fought in the Olympics, that guy looks better to me right now because that guy actually cares about the sport. And he was robbed in the Olympics, by the way. I think it's Gary Antoine Russell, his younger brother. This guy's one to watch. This Gary Russell Jr., not impressed at all. He better. I mean, I'm impressed by his skills when he's in there, but he needs to fight, and he needs to fight meaningful competition and soon. Otherwise, what's the point of even talking about him? You may as well talk. I mean, Oscar Valdez is, even though he's with Tomparek, is more relevant to the equation. I think either one of them would beat Selby or Frampton.
Right, Amir, thanks as always for coming on and joining us this evening. Do you have a brief comment about the Selby Barrios fight or anything that we've discussed before you go?
Not really, but I do have 2 more questions. Well, one. So I was watching some old fights back for pure entertainment, like short fights that have ended quite early. And just wanting your guys' opinions. So the top 2 are, the top 3 are rather for me, Pacquiao Marquez 4. That was one vicious fight. Pacquiao being knocked out. Like a dogfight, all out war. Yeah. Then I thought about it, and I thought Hagler v Hearns. That was something else. That 3-round war. And then a bit longer, Lebedev v Guillermo Jones. That fight where Lebedev's eye come out, looked like the Elephant Man. So I just thought I'd ask you guys that question and see what you guys think. The fights you've seen over the time, the short ones, what you've liked the most from a pure entertainment point of view, not like from the fighting angle, not so much the boxing.
I think definitely Hagler Hearns. Andy always knows a good few ones. Hagler Hearns for sure. That's one of the ones that always gets brought up in the sport. It's just a few rounds of utter madness. Any quick blowouts, Andy, or short round wars you want to throw in for Amir to go and look at over the week?
Amir, you need to watch Kirkland Angulo.
Good shout. Brilliant shout.
Tommy Hearns against Iran Bartley. Davey Moore against Roberto Duran. Hit me up on Twitter. I'll send you this one for Japan against his Thai fighters. Jokihiro against
These quite even fights, though. That's what I'm.
What you want? Even fights.
Well, even sort fights. Of even, but like to like the end. Because I think these fights were quite even. The ones that you've mentioned, but then one guy ended up winning.
Right. Well,
eventually,
I know. Duran was a betting underdog for that fight. Hearns Bartley, I forget if it was the first or the second fight. I've seen that was a good fight from what I remember. There's been quite a few, but maybe you can send me them later on, or just put them on Twitter.
Right. We'll hit you up on Twitter with those ones, Amir. Thanks as always for coming on. Appreciate it.
No problem. Nice one, lads. See you. Bye.
Mate.
See you later. Bye. Amir Khan there. Right, just finishing off this show, the Frampton Undercard. Anything anyone wants to talk about the rest of the show, or the card, or the viewing figures, or anything else? Or
Josh Taylor just over there, just flying the flag for Scotland, just showing him who he is, and he's going to be back at some point, kicking ass. O'Hara Davis, wee bitch faggot, is running like fucking mad for him. But he's not got an opponent yet, unfortunately. But I dare say whoever it is, he's not going to last with the Tartan Tornado. We all know he's the future of Scottish boxing, so we'll just leave it at that.
Looking forward to seeing Taylor. I noticed that Conrad Cummings isn't on the undercard. He lost to Ronnie Mittag on a recent show. I think it was when Taylor beat Dave Ryan, actually. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's happening to Conrad, but he seems to have disappeared. Right, hey to Dave. I don't know if you know anything about this one. I'm just flicking up and down the schedule. I didn't even realise this was next week. I thought it was a couple of weeks away. The Fantasy Springs Casino in California. You got Takashi Miura fighting against Miguel Roman, and Francisco Vargas is on the same card as well. Toriano Johnson and Saddam Ali in separate fights. Is this HBO televising this one?
That Toriano Johnson's an accident waiting to happen. He nearly got beat by. He he struggled against that Irish bloke on the undercard of Triple G. Struggled bad.
Eamon O'Kane, did he struggle though?
Well, he should have. He knocked him down twice in the first round, and he went to points.
Well, okay.
See, was this not the card that Salido was meant to be fighting? Was it Vargas rematch? Or was
I think
it
it was, Andy. Yeah, it's been rescheduled. Is this Boxing After Dark or something of picking this one up?
It's I think it must be, mate. As it says, when I saw the card, I think Vargas is fighting that. Was it Berchelt? I think it might be a mandatory defence. So, was when I saw this, I thought it might be kind of a showcase for maybe the Vargas Maura rematch, until I realised that fucking Vargas actually knocked out Maura kind of like 10th round or something, 9th round or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know what's going to happen after this fight. I mean, obviously, if Salido is injured, like they say he is, then that is a potential. Well, that is a fight that I wouldn't mind seeing at 130. Maura Vargas rematch.
I certainly wouldn't mind seeing it again either. I'm sure it's not very good for their health, but I would love to see a rematch of that one. We're coming towards the close of the show, guys. There's not really that too much to talk about, so I'm going to get the Bellew of the Weeks out of the way here. I have about 12 on my list, and anybody else wants to throw anything else in, they can. And at the end of the show, we're going to finish off with a bit of Hook Brady's talk, a bit of Brooke Spence, anything else anybody wants to throw in as well. But we're not going for too much longer, so don't be worrying. Right, Bellew of the Week is here. First nomination to Amir Khan. Do I need to say any more? Not the Amir Khan who was on with us tonight, by the way, although maybe people will be putting him in for a few Bellews of the Week. But Amir Khan on Twitter, as we alluded to earlier, Andy. A bit quick on the wrist this week.
Oh, it was tremendous, mate. The thing is, I wasn't. Well, I'd never seen the video as such. I've seen some guys hitting me up on Twitter with some pictures and stuff. I was a bit kind of disappointed with his cum shot. Actually, it just kind of seemed to dribble out the sides rather than just kind of explode. You know, so that's what it is.
Nomination for Joseph Agbeko. He's fighting against Kid Galahad, but on his Twitter, he had a picture up of a girl leaning into a fridge with a nice.
Might need.
Oh, Dave's watching the NFL playoffs just now.
All right, okay. Sorry to interrupt your conversation with Cindy there, Dave. Anyway, Joseph Agbeko, picture of a girl with a nice skimpy dress on, leaning over in front of a fridge, and it said, "This is your girlfriend's sister. What would you do?" And then below that, Joseph says, "Dear God, I pray you move in mighty ways in my life. Lead, guide, and direct me, Lord. Let your plan prevail in my life in Jesus' name." So there's obviously a couple of things going on Joseph's Twitter there.
Translated roughly means it's "oh fucking yes."
Oh man, right, this one was sent in by Aaron Staples. ITV Box Office tweeted a picture of Kid Galahad, and they said, "This should be tasty. Unbeaten Kid Galahad will fight Joseph Agbeko, blah blah blah." And George Ogier said, "One might call it juicy," and ITV Box Office seemed to like this, and they retweeted it, so it could be a juicy fight for Kid Galahad there. Nomination, Joe Ringer has sent one in for the Madison Square Garden. Bit of a spelling. Instead of Era for Michael Conlon, he's the pride of Erie. I think someone's got a bit of a spelling mistake going on there. Chad Hogan sent this one in. Badu Jack has relinquished his WBC super middleweight title as he prepares to move up to light heavyweight. And Brendini 1978 jumps in and says he should be giving up the IBF belt as well. The last round knockdown was enough to give the fight to DeGale on points. I don't know what fight Brendini was watching, but he's managed to get himself in there anyway. Irish boxing news. My friend Kane, he has nominated the Boxing Kingdom. It's just a pure troll now, Andy. They're middleweight top 5 of all time. Gennady Golovkin 1, Marvin Hagler 2, Bernard Hopkins 3, Billy Joe Saunders 4, and Carlos Monzon 5.
Absolute. I'm not wanting to go too heavy on it because it's getting late. I don't want to get myself worked up. But
for us, please, who said that?
Boxing Kingdom.
Boxing Kingdom.
It's obviously some wee fucking 15-year-old lad is sitting in his house and just kind of like squeezing the German helmet, the blackheads out of his German helmet, Nothing better to do with his time, man. Fucking put up shit like that. Be prick.
The Boxing Kingdom managed to get themselves on the list every week, so fair play to them. Right, Ben Churchard sent this one in for David Haye's lawyer. David Haye's lawyer apparently said that David Haye's main values are honesty and integrity.
Good shit.
Okay. Dr. Steelhammer, Ben Thorns, has sent in this nomination for Terry Henry on Twitter. He tweeted Eddie Hearn. Eddie, you keep that guy Anthony Joshua winning, and I'll keep lining your pockets. Hashtag and the new. Oh, for goodness sake. Right, Paulie Tacker sent this one in about the Eubank pay-per-view. On a Facebook group, Andrew Tompkins says, it's £10. All of you lot crying about one payment of £10 for front row seats in a warm home to watch a night of boxing, which includes a boxer that's extremely likely to smash the sport at the highest level. It's just £10.
He works for ITV, that cunt, obviously.
Like Kurt works for Box Nation.
Aye. What is that cunt?
I don't know. Kurt got accused of working for Box Nation because he said that, was it Cotto Kirkland was a good fight? And he goes, you clearly work for Box Nation or have an affiliation. Right. Chad Hogan, our friend Brian, I think sent this one in for Gareth A. Davis for going on about Frampton, calling Santa Cruz Santa Cruz. Or as my wife would say, Santa Cruz. So there you go. And Matthew Skelton has sent this one in for StubHub. Apparently they've opened a shop in London. They can now con you in a store in London city centre.
Seriously?
Yeah, they've opened up a StubHub shop.
Fuck's sake. I must be in touch with Eddie Hearn and that, because obviously Eddie Hearn's moved into the hotel business. No, it's not the hotel business. The fucking it's luxury boxing gyms and stuff. So you'll be moving into fucking that as well, eh? Fingers in all the pies.
Oh dear. Right, final nomination is for Adam Smido Smith from Lestin Venables. Bellew of the Week for the self-proclaimed casual Smido today for earlier on saying that Berto has not fought since Mayweather, even though, Adam, he fought Victor Ortiz.
Oh, well, that's a brilliant fight. I've got that on record, you fucking prick. But Victor Ortiz, that's more like a reality show. That ain't a fight, you knobhead.
Did you see the pictures of fucking Berto, by the way? That is ripping out of him, by the way. Fuck's sake. See the six-pack in that. Fucking last time I seen a six-pack like that, I had to go and buy it out of a shop, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ.
That's all I've got. Has anybody else got any?
No. But I'm going to vote for Amir Khan. I just, the sheer meltdown of his personal life just now just seems to be fucking just, grown exponentially. And, so what do you do in situations like that? Talking to the wife, you feel a bit horny, so you just pull your meat out and jack one off. Simple fact is you just date in front of Skype.
I'm voting for Amir Khan as well, for what it's worth. So that's 2. Adam, who you vote for?
Can I ask, did anybody actually watch the video?
No, I just saw this. I saw a gif of it.
Come on, be honest now. I'm not going to just be honest. Because I actually want to hear. Or tell me about his cum face now. I want to know if he can pose the same face as I do. Eh?
Donnie left, so I'm afraid you won't have any confirmed viewers of the video.
I think it was the same face, Andy, that when he got hit by Prescott.
Well, I was up when he was trying to get himself back off. He was pulling himself back off the canvas.
Yeah.
Oh. It's like, because you know that way sometimes when you're doing it and that, right, and next minute you know that set when you lock on, right, and your face goes like below the bear, like you do it when he scratches his back in the Jungle Book and that. Oh fuck, here we go! It's any minute there it is,
Smido, who you go?
I'm voting for Khan.
Oh, he's won it this week. He's good deal.
Dave, it's a formality, but who are you going for?
I'm voting for whoever that knobhead was who said that Billy Joe Saunders was number 4 middleweight.
That was the Boxing Kingdom.
Oh, God, I hate them. Yes, them.
What, of all time?
Yeah, they had him over Carlos Monzon.
Yeah, they had Smido. They had Golovkin, Hagler, Hopkins, Saunders, and Monzon, top 5.
I've got a late entry from Scotty RFC. He's saying Gallagher was saying that Floyd watched Callum Smith on YouTube, then Jack moved up to light heavyweight because of it.
Oh yes, Joe Gallagher.
Oh yeah, Gallagher. Oh, well, yeah, I'm voting for Boxing Kingdom though.
Well, for possibly the last time ever, well done Boxing Kingdom, because we haven't got any sound effects. But here you go. Right, I can't really be bothered asking too many questions. So, Andy, do you want to talk to us about Huck Bradis briefly?
I just it got announced this week, obviously, that Bradis will be fighting Marco Huck for the interim WBC Cruiserweight title. So, obviously, it's basically puts Tony on notice now. Tony Bellew, you obviously need to fight the winner. again, it's another good fight in the cruiserweight division. Another 2 guys in the top 10 fighting it off. Doesn't really need a title, in my personal opinion, but I'm really happy for Bradis because I think he's pushing 32 now, I think. So there really was a time for him to kind of push on and get another big fight, so to speak. So I think he's going to do the business and he'll do it pretty well, actually. He's too fresh. Hook, as we know, he's been in the wars and all that sort of stuff. You know, we've discussed Huck. I would say that guy's been discussed more times than some boxers, apart from Manny and Floyd. That he's definitely in the conversation. The amount of times we've discussed Marco Hook on this show, but I think this could basically be the end of his career. Actually, if you look at that Duradora fight with Bredis, I mean, Duradora's one tough motherfucker. If you stand up to Kudryashov's left hook and come back and knock him out, it says its own story. And Bredis just basically put a beat down on him, pretty much landslided actually in the cards as well at that point. Hook, on the other hand, obviously we know about the Galacki knockout. He did come back obviously against Afolabi. I think that was the 4th fight. Dimitri Kucher, I'm hearing stories that maybe Big Enzo might fight him as well. Dimitri Kucher at some point.
Again? Didn't they already fight? Yeah,
I think so, mate. Aye, so they're talking
about
knocked
him out,
fight.
Didn't he? Kucher knocked him out in the first round. Yeah.
Been hearing maybe the Cleverly fight maybe get mentioned as well, but we'll discuss that another time. But yeah, as I says, I think this could be, you know, one last roll of dice for Marco Hook. Obviously, he's got that prestigious IBO title that Eubank wants to replicate and all that sort of shit. But all joking aside, really though, is Bredis should be too fresh, too strong for him, but it's going to be a cracker. I really think so. And maybe Bredis with a late stoppage, but we'll wait to see what happens with it. And obviously, the other thing as well is we'll maybe leave it to next week, but how much of a bitch is Kell Brook for turning around saying after all this time that he can't get it up to fight fucking Errol Spence? That says it all about a guy who basically sat on a title for all that length of time, okay, and fought Frankie Gavin, fucking Donut Dan and all that sort of shit, and got nicely paid on pay-per-view for it. And then when your fucking big fight comes, you get your multi-million pound payday. You can fucking goggle on all the cock you want. You can do this at the next thing, get fat, and then when it comes calling, I want to fight Amir Khan, because you know why he wants to fight Amir Khan? One more payday, then he is gone. So he doesn't want to fucking fight Spence, lose his title, the only bargaining tool that he's got. So yeah, Brook, I'm fucking finished with that guy. I really do hope that Khan doesn't fight him. Between now and the summertime, I actually hope that Brook gets a fight, gets knocked out, and then obviously I think we'll maybe see Khan catching a virus off his laptop or his cock or something like that, and then he'll be forced to retire and sort of shit. So it'll be all good laugh, you know.
Brook's in a funny position because if he admits that he doesn't want to fight Spence and then takes action against that, i.e. move up to like middle, Khan isn't going to follow him up there. So he's not only is he giving up his title, he's also giving up the Spence fight. So the Khan fight. So when Khan says, I want you to defend your mandatory, then, you know, that's quite clever from Khan, because if Brook does not take the mandatory and moves up, Khan knows that the fight with him is also gone out the window with that. I mean, Khan, they've both been embarrassing at regular interviews throughout their life, for intervals throughout their life. These pair, Amir Khan just last week, obviously, but you know, Khan to say, oh yeah, beat Matthew Atton and then make yourself beat someone in America or win a title or fight, you know, move up in weight or all the, like he's not running Kel's career. He's making all these silly demands. I just don't get it. I just don't get it with Khan. You know, he's going to be at what we've got to remember. The last time we saw that man in a ring, he was splattered, absolutely splattered on the canvas at the wrong weight, but he was still splattered on the canvas. He should be coming back and taking this big payday and fighting Brook. But all this, and he actually means it. I know we've been over this a long time, but when Khan says that he doesn't want to give Brook / Eddie the payday, he actually means that. I mean, we've heard some excuses in our time of boxing, but denying someone a payday and that's his genuine excuse. It's again. Well, we're coming back to a theme tonight, Steve. Boxing's in a mess.
Yeah, it just drags on for too long, doesn't it? I mean, 2-3 years. How long do these fights have to
marinate?
Marinate, that's the word. How long do they have to marinate for? It's not even worth talking about. What about Brady's Hooks, Mido? Do you have any opinions now? I think Brady's going to knock him out. I think Hook's done.
Yeah, I think Hook's had enough now. it'd be a cracking fight because there's only one direction Hook's going to be going in that night, and he'll be going forward until he's put to the canvas. But no, I think it's a definite test for Bradis as well. I know we spoke about Bradis a fair bit. One of those under the radar / hardcore kind of fighters that we know of. And like Andy said, it puts Tony on notice, to be honest, because if he comes back down, he's more than likely got to fight Bradis off the back of an impressive win over a veteran opponent. So it does make it interesting for any time after March the 4th.
And final, Smido, I believe you're catching up with Robin Reid, Haye and Schaefer in instalments through Box Nation after my recommendation.
Steve, I started watching it the other night, and I think I started watching it Friday. I ended up falling asleep, so I got to round 5. That Schaefer, his hairline, I've never seen a hairline like that. It's awesome. That Schaefer, but yeah, Robin Reid was there in Widnes of all places. But yeah, I'm watching it in instalments. Robin, I think I've made it to round 5, but yeah, that Schaefer was moving up in weight. Robin Reid registered with him early on and wobbled him a little bit, and yeah, it's turning into an okay fight. But yeah, the next instalment will be sometime this week.
Yeah, Haye and Schaefer went on to fight Howard Eastman on the BBC, and if you're looking for some Schaefer action out there, guys, look up his fight with Neville Brown. Would have been from around 93, 94.
Yeah.
Really, really, really fun fight. So you'll have to look at that one. Andy, just in our final little closing out segment, anything you've been watching this week? I'll tell you who I've been watching, Andy. Do you remember a fighter from recent years? He was a friend of Manny Pacquiao's. He's trained under Freddie Roach. Jerry Penalosa.
Oh, aye. Remember him.
Good little fighter. Knocked out Johnny Gonzalez.
Aye, I'm trying to remember. Was that he's a featherweight, wasn't he?
Yeah, really, really nice, skilled, super bantam. I think he came from bantam to super bantam. He's at featherweight by that point. Really skilled fighter. Very nice to watch on the eye.
Filipino, aye. What have I been watching? I watched Pong Kempech against Pascal Perez 1 and 2. I think it was a flyweight fight, actually. What else have I watched this week? Bear me a second here. Just...
While you're thinking, Andy, actually, what I'm planning on watching next week, I keep on hearing that Hopkins-Calzaghe was a close fight, and I was actually staying up to about 4 o'clock in the morning watching it, and I haven't watched it since. So I'm going to rewatch it and see if it actually was close, because I can't really remember what happened. I thought Calzaghe was a worthy winner, but apparently not.
I'll tell you what, I watched that Scottish card that was on STV Glasgow actually on Thursday night. I watched that earlier on the day. It was alright, I suppose,
The Scottish card, good stuff. Dave, finally, I was watching David 2 against Hasim Rahman last week. Pretty decent fight. And in honour of you, I've been trying to think of all my favourite heavyweight Davids. Obviously, David 2 was around. I thought we got David Haye as well. Dave Allen, who fought Luis Ortiz. David Price, there's another one. David Izonratai, a Nigerian prospect from a few years ago. And another prospect who never made it from Canada, David Defi Agbon. Any more David? David, you want to throw in
No.
Peter?
David Rodriguez. Remember him? He was undefeated from Texas or something. Got smashed by Dingling Darnell Wilson a few years ago. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of any heavyweights named David. I'm a fan of Ike. I'm a fan of Tyson. The white Tyson, the big one, who is now the man. Oh, sorry, my dogs are fighting in the background. The heavyweight champion of the world.
Okay, that'll do it. Anything else anybody wants to add, or should we close on out of here?
Let's close on out of here.
Let's close on out of here. Thanks to Adam Smith, the betting guru, in place of Tommy Guru Allen, who didn't come on tonight. Donny Baseball was on for about 5 minutes, and he begged to come on because he wanted to talk Frampton-Santa Cruz, and I was just about to ask him a question, and he disappeared, and he didn't come back on. So thanks very much, Donny. Hey to Dave Loback was on with us, as was Andy Patterson, and Amir Khan was on for an extended stay as well. I've been Steve Wellings. We'll speak to you next week, guys. Andy Patterson will hopefully be in the hot seat. I'm hoping if I can get decent Wi-Fi, I will be on, but I'll be sampling the bright lights of Las Vegas, so I might or
might not speak to you.
Sorry?
Who's hosting next week?
Andy?
Oh.
Unless you want to do it.
Oh, yeah, that would go down like a lead balloon.
I'll do it if I'm available.
Dave has volunteered. We shall talk about this off air, guys. We'll speak to you next week. Thank you. Bye.